Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning, Wednesday morning. It is March 6th. I'm Joe Callahan, and around the Coffee Ann table, we'll say good morning to John Ward, Woonsocket City Council President. Hi, John. Good morning, everyone. I got to turn that microphone up. Say hi again there, John.
I'll say good morning, everyone, again.
Very good. Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities is here.
Good morning, everybody.
And Tim Draper from Navigant Credit Union is here.
Morning, Joe.
And
morning, everyone.
Watching online, you can see that Melissa and Tim are wearing their gold medals. Congratulations. They both won in the Best of the Blackstone Valley in their respective categories.
Thank you very much.
So
non-competing categories.
Non-competing categories, exactly.
Couldn't be more different.
That's true. Although our clientele share an age bracket.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And this is, voted by the people in the Blackstone Valley. So,
by the people.
Yeah.
Not by us. We didn't sit around the table and say, okay, they win.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Right.
The people actually voted for you guys, and so that's
they like
we
us.
Came on
They
top.
really like us. They like us. They really like us.
Congratulations.
So that's great. So good. So good for you. Good for you guys. I don't get it.
Well, thanks for sponsoring the contest.
Sally?
This was great.
Sally
Grab
Fields.
the microphone.
Oh,
Sally
oh,
Fields.
yeah,
Oscars.
that's
Like,
right.
really like
me.
me.
That's so
Even
old
I remember
now.
It
that.
is so old. Well, I'm old. That's what happens.
You don't remember her doing
No,
that?
I said I remember that.
Oh,
Even
at the-
I remember
at the
that, and I'm
Oscars.
considered to
Okay.
be the spring chicken of this group.
That is true. You are.
All right. Melissa, it is time for our first message, please, from the St. Antoine Communities.
Right. So for those of you that don't know a lot about us, St. Antoine Community is a large long-term care campus. We're located in North Smithfield and on the line of Blackstone, Mass. and Woonsocket. And on our property, we offer an expansive continuum of services that range from assisted living to short and long-term skilled care. We have a state-of-the-art rehab center, a private hospice suite, as well as a large secured memory care unit. And the two buildings on our property are the Villa at St. Antoine, our 76-apartment assisted living facility. Someone's bragging about having more medals than me. And the Residence at St. Antoine, which is our 180-bed short and long-term skilled care facility. So if you're presently at a crossroads with your loved one and trying to determine when is the right time to seek more help and support, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'd be happy to walk you through your options. You can reach me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@stantantoine.net.
You each have to walk into your respective
I want to point out, I mean,
what?
are there categories on you right now that acknowledge like best marketing director, best caregiver,
No, that
winning
was the one. You
smile?
won that one.
I'm
You
just
won.
wondering, there's some categories that maybe this competition didn't
smile?
capture.
No, you won best
That-
marketing and best smile. Exactly.
You need to walk into your respective CEOs with wearing the medals.
Wearing them.
Well, Randy is
Say-
with our CEO, and I'm sure he's probably wearing it
his.
in Washington with all the congressional candidates.
Oh, okay. So say, look at Miggy, look at me.
Ah.
Very nice, Tim.
All right,
I know.
excellent.
Does this
Taking them off
belong
now
to the
because they are
facility
heavy.
or us? Because I
They
feel
are.
like we represent. I
They
feel
are.
like
They are
We do,
heavy.
But this is a team effort. I will say that for sure.
Good.
This is we got one of the categories was best customer service, so that
Yeah.
just makes me very proud to know that the staff earned that one.
Yeah.
They worked real hard and they work real hard every day, and so it's always nice to get recognition. It's not something we go to work to do, but when it happens, it's real good because it's recognizing the efforts of all the staff, and they really truly are great. So
Not only did you get best credit union, but you got best place to work too.
that is true.
That's
That's a really
another
good one.
That is true. That's another important
That's humbling.
function.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a job, come see us.
Yeah.
There's probably something available.
No.
I have
Okay.
to say, from the top down at Navigant, I don't think I've ever met anyone over there that isn't just incredibly personable.
Well, it's interesting because
Yeah.
that's part of the when you interview somebody, especially somebody who's customer facing, you have to. There is some consideration you have to give to does this person come off friendly and kind and empathetic and all the things that you want an employee to really be. Some do, and those times when it's in tight employment market, then maybe that is not as much of a focus. It's
Yep.
I need a body to fill a seat.
Yep.
But for the most part, we try to find people who really are going to treat our members well. So it's a shared value set. That's what we look for.
I think those qualities are more and more important. Like I just went through a hiring process for someone new to add to my team. And honestly, past job experience helps.
Yeah.
It was more about chemistry, but it was also just that. It's just like that.
Right.
that moment of exchange where you know you've got someone in front of you that's a good listener, compassionate, can deliver a solid message with conviction,
Yep.
and it's not that fake speak.
Yep.
And those things matter more sometimes.
So when they come in and say, "I have a problem," you don't turn looking for someone that says, "Gee, that's too bad."
Yeah. Let me find my
unfortunate.
notes on how to address your problem. No,
really-
you don't want that.
Blanks
person.
to be you.
You really, that's right. you really should talk to somebody else. You know?
Yeah.
All right. We had an election day in Woonsocket yesterday, and Dan Gendron prevailed on coming out on top of Adam Brunetti. About 1,000 votes for
1,009.
Is that what it exactly was? 1,009 for Dan and 330 something.
338.
For Adam Brunetti. So Dan jumps right in to the next to be at the next city council
Once
meeting.
they certify the results, he
Well,
gets sworn in, and he will be attending the next meeting.
Okay, so he's up, ready to go.
Now,
We heard-
do you swear him in as the president of the council?
No, it's it would be the city clerk's job to do that.
Okay. We heard from Adam Brunetti on our news, and he says he's running again.
Yep.
I'm
Congratulations
looking forward-
to him.
You know, you learn,
Good
you
effort.
live and learn.
learn.
Your first time around, and say, okay,
It's
next election's coming up in November. I'll do it again.
very much like Mr. Mellon. I expect he will be
He
running
expects to
again.
running it too. So
And other people. I've heard Roger Gillette in some areas talk about him running
running,
again.
Wow. Okay.
And of course, there's the incumbents that haven't said specifically yet, so we'll wait for them to announce whatever they have to announce. But Scott McKee, Dave Susi, Valerie Gonzalez, Brian Thompson, they're still
Up in the air.
up in the air.
On it. Oh, okay. And now none of you live in Massachusetts except for me. So yesterday for me was Super Tuesday. So I get to vote yesterday. And I've told the story before, and I told it again yesterday how I don't like how they do it in Massachusetts. I like how they do it in Rhode Island because they ask for your ID. Massachusetts they do not. And I always said if I was devious enough, I could go back and vote twice because of the way they did it. Well, they have finally joined the 21st century in Massachusetts. So congratulations to them. It used to be there used to be just huge books.
Oh yeah.
And and they flip, and I got used to being able to read upside down. There's my name, there's my wife's name, there's my son's name. And if I could go back. I always thought I could go back, hours later when the shift changes and vote again as my son.
Yeah. Oh.
They have changed. There's no more book.
Wow.
iPad.
iPad is right.
Yeah. So we do it in Rhode
So
Island.
you cannot read it.
Yep.
And they ask you a name and they type it in, and then first name, and then they ask me is my street address. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Okay. And then which ballot would you like? I had 3 choices yesterday.
You did?
I did. I was surprised. Republican, Democratic, or Libertarian.
Ooh.
Oh, well, that's nice. Nice to have choices.
Nice to have choices.
And so the same thing when you go check out, they get their own iPad over there, and I guess it's more efficient and like that. And what they do is after they punch in your name and your address, and you agree, yes, it's me, they hit a little print, and it prints up a little. It's not a sticker, but it's like the receipt you get from the gas station. And hang on to this. Okay, you go and vote, and you go check out, and you give the receipt back to them, so it proves you voted. I guess. That's
So
why
they
it
don't
matters.
use you don't give them your driver's license and they don't put it
No.
in so in Rhode Island, don't they
And-
take your driver's license
do.
and put it under the
I thought they
scanner?
I
And
scanned
all
it.
it's doing is reading the code on the
code
back,
back.
and the only information it's providing them is your name and address.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not date of birth.
No.
I assumed it was going to be that.
Well, I mean that's really all you need for your vote. It doesn't check it against
No,
the
because when you
database.
register to vote, you have to be a certain age to register.
Well, right, but if I'm
So
16,
all they're really comparing is
Otherwise-
to see whether or not you're the name and address that's on there.
match the
And if you're 16, you won't be registered to vote.
right.
So
Well,
it
no,
is-
I know. I just meant in terms of presenting the card and not.
But if you're 17 and you're going to be
But-
18 by the
it's
voting,
also checking against the voter roll. I mean, on their little
Yeah,
their
okay.
screen themselves, they're
Yeah.
looking at that information on the voter rolls. to make
Right,
sure you're
okay.
But what they
registered to
did for my daughter when she was going for her driver's license, and she was 16 and a half, because you have to be 16 and a half in Mass. It was a few months after that. On your registry of motor vehicle form that you're filling out, it asks you, do you want to register to
It
vote?
does in Rhode Island too.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay. And so they automatically do it
if
for you.
If
I'm
you
like, oh,
do
nice.
it, yeah, but did she get registered to vote
Yes.
at 16?
Well, we're going to send your name and whatever over to the registry, not to the registry,
But
the
they're
board of
aware that
canvassers.
she's only 16, so they won't
Yes.
actually register her to
But
vote.
at that time, correct. But now she's 18,
So she
and
should be all
and,
set.
and she can vote.
She can.
Yes,
Actually,
she didn't, but she can.
if she was 17 and a half,
I love the eye roll
at the
from
time
the
of
dad.
the primary, she could register
Yeah,
to
I still
vote, right?
question the
Yes.
constitutionality of that.
Yeah. So
They
all of a
allow
sudden,
they allow that.
Right. So it's so that they can be registered when the actual general election comes around in November. As long as you're 18 by November, by the election in November,
You can vote in the primary.
You can vote in the
If you're
primary.
Primary is not
17.
an election.
Well, I would agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. It is funny and it's an interesting concept that they want to do that.
But they allow it. Yeah.
Then that's my question is it constitutional? Because in Rhode Island, there's a couple of things in Rhode Island they're trying to do. One is same-day registration. Well, Rhode Island requires that you be 18 years old
Yep.
when you vote and that you have been a resident of the state for 30 days.
So you can't do same day voting registration.
They seem to think they can.
I don't think that's the rule in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Just
but I'm
say-
saying
I'm just
in
saying,
Rhode Island,
yeah.
it's in the Constitution itself.
Ah, okay. But Melissa, dealing with an 18-year-old female who had the day off yesterday because we vote at the school, so they got that day off,
Yeah.
and they worked in teacher development day into that, and it was just all right. What you want to? I'll
come
take
with
you.
me?
I'll take you. I'll show you what to do, because I said you gotta find out what precinct you're in and what does that mean and all that stuff, or you want to hang out with your friends. And they went to Providence Place Mall.
Oh,
They went to Providence Place Mall. So,
Oh.
okay.
I have a question for John again. I'm going back to that.
All right.
So if the legislature makes that rule, changes that, and puts that into law that you can same day registration, who challenges that?
Well, technically, I would think anybody who's registered to vote could challenge it in court
Okay.
as on the constitutional basis of giving a privilege to somebody who's ineligible by the Constitution. And it may or may not happen. It could be everyone just, when I think about the primary and they say the 17 and a half too, I think some would tell you that, well, it's not really an election. It is a party event. And what I've always objected to about primaries is if it's a party event, then why aren't the parties paying for it? And then you get into the question of local elections like Woonsocket, where there's nonpartisan elections, then it must be an election, because even though it's a runoff, it's not a party event.
Right.
And so it is truly an election or a preliminary election. And so how would somebody 17 and a half qualify in the constitutional limit, with the constitutional limitation? And as I say, at the council meetings, when I bring up the city charter and state laws, sometimes I'm the skunk at the garden party, but they're legitimate questions that need to be answered. And
Who answers them?
Politicians in state legislatures and Congress tend to waffle on these issues, and they babble stuff, but they don't actually answer questions. And then they say, why do you want to deprive somebody of their right? But it's not a right. Just like when they talk about students in school, like her kids who are in school and minors claiming to have rights. You have no rights. You have the rights your parents grant to you, in my opinion.
I use that line often in my house. I afford you your rights.
The minute you make your share of the payments on the mortgage,
100%.
we'll talk about your rights.
It's funny.
Exactly. It's interesting.
It's something of a strict interpretation stance, but there's a reason for it, and I think we should be respecting the reasons for it.
That's what I think happening nowadays. Everybody's just not. There's no more strict interpretation of anything. It's all
Gray.
fuzzy math.
Yeah.
all
If
gray.
you read laws are written oftentimes in very vague language, and it's intentionally done by lawyers so they can interpret it any way they want.
Right.
All right, before we take our first break here with the Coffee and program, everybody remember the TV, you might not, Melissa, but remember the TV show Barney Miller?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Barney Miller, if you talk to any police officer, they say Barney Miller is the closest realization of what real cops do than any other TV show. Barney Miller is spot on. And so I've always remembered that. And they arrested a juvenile in the TV show one time. And he says, when do I get my one phone call? You don't. When do I get to speak to a lawyer? You don't. He goes, what about my rights? You don't have any. As a minor, you
call your
have
parents.
very, very little rights. I go, They're right. I didn't realize that then, but they were spot on. You don't have any.
That's right.
As a minor, you don't have any. It's the way
They're
it
just
is.
reminding people of that.
That's right. That's right. But it was so. Of course, the crowd is laughing.
Yeah.
You don't get that. You don't get that.
Yeah.
All right, Melissa, it's time for your second message, please, from the St. Antoine communities.
So, with a million things I'd love to talk about and only 60 seconds to talk about something specific, I think I'll just share with the group that it's that time of year and 401 Gives is coming up. And I don't know how many of the listeners out there are familiar with what 401 Gives is, or the platform and its affiliation with the United Way of Rhode Island. But we have partnered with them for the last, I think this is the 5th campaign, where they really invite all local nonprofits to participate and kind of put out there into the universe what their needs are for this year. And so this year, our big ask and looking for support at St. Antoine Community is going to be for outdoor patio furniture. It sounds so ridiculous, and I'm sure you're all thinking, like, just go to Walmart, just go to Lowe's. That doesn't work in healthcare. You need much more stable, supportive outdoor patio sets. And
It's a little shaky.
there's a lot of liability in those sets. Fine for my yard, fine
Kind of
for your
furniture you
yard.
can fall into.
Not fine for folks that are recovering from a recent rehab experience for a broken hip, let's just say. So with that said, we are actually looking to outfit both the Villa and St. Antoine residents with new outdoor patio sets for our caregivers to be able to come and visit with their loved ones. I mean, one of the attractive qualities of our property is like all of our rolling acres of land, and our families really enjoy it, and they go out there often, 9 months of the year. So whatever we invest in has to be sturdy, stable, and long-lasting. So we would appreciate your support. I love how you're laughing because it is such a. It sounds like a ridiculous ask, but it's such an essential thing.
No Adirondack chairs, please.
Already thought of that. Thank
How
you.
about electric Adirondack chairs?
I
They
know,
come
I
up,
don't-
you get in, they go
There's
back
a-
down again.
They haven't
There's a
invented that
creation.
yet, but there is something. Where our generation is
gonna
so
do that.
acclimated to Adirondacks and fire pits that we're going to be confused when we.
Lift under the bottom, separated from the rest of the chair.
I think it's perfect.
Oh my gosh,
it's an
this has
idea.
gone rogue. Anyways, we're going to clean up this message before next week when I get back. But April 1st is the date. That has always been historically the date for the start of it. And it used to just be a 24-hour window. They've expanded it for the past couple of years to a 2 or 3 day window. I will have more information when I come back next week and a much more polished message without these two jumping in. But there will be no Adirondacks or electronic spring features of the furniture we choose, but rather stable, safe.
No, I mean it makes perfect
And weather.
sense. It's not your average backyard
Right.
furniture.
It
It's
is not
something
an
that's got to be
Correct.
functional and useful to people who have
Right.
special needs physically.
I will just add one more little snippet. Again, it sounds ridiculous to say our need is outdoor furniture, but when all of your funds are being allocated to still recovering from COVID and PPE, debt for many years to come, and staffing, overtime, et cetera, this is where our asks come in, right? It's the things that no one thinks of that are needed, and nor can you afford out of your day-to-day operating budget. So would love your help and support. Stay tuned for more information. Thank you.
All right, Melissa, thanks. And the Coffee and program will continue here on ON Radio.
This is Ed Carew of the Carew Investment Group, 765-8880, with some simple advice about investing. The truth is, there is no simple advice about investing. The old days of financial uptrends and downtrends, lasting for days, weeks, and months or longer, are gone. Sometimes trends last only part of a day before changing direction. Investing is not an activity for those who cannot take the time to study and see each twist and turn for the opportunity that it truly presents. Since 1987, I've seen them all, and I'll invest your money the same way I invest for myself. Carefully, very carefully. And it won't cost you a nickel to talk about it with me. So call me, Ed Carew, at 765-8880 right here in Woonsocket. Securities offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
We're local and live at 99.5.
All right, it's Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Tim Draper, Melissa Smith, John Ward, and we're looking at a headline on the front page of today's Blackstone Valley Call-in Times. So the Woonsocket City Council did vote to lower Mike DeBroyce's director of planning and development, and did lower
Yes.
his pay.
Yes.
All right. Does that have to pass again, or
No,
was that a done
it's
deal?
done.
Done and like that.
It's done, and it's the numbers that were in the ordinance were based on an annual amount, but in fact it represents about 2 weeks' pay.
Okay.
And it's simply, I think, that based upon the impact of everything that's occurred, coincidentally, it happened on the same night we actually approved hiring an attorney to investigate all of the information and data we've collected and bring us back a report on what our options are proceeding forward in any deeper investigation if they think it's necessary.
So it's basically with his part of it. His part is done.
Yeah, it's
That part-
the equivalent
yeah.
of if
Suspended for
Mayor
2 weeks.
Beauchamp had come into office and like he did with Cindy Johnston, he terminated her
Yeah.
for his own reasons. If he had wanted to take some punitive action, he could have simply suspended him for a week or two, and we likely would have never been talking about this now. But that didn't happen, and there was a clamoring out in the public from people screaming at us to do something because you can't just let somebody be part of an operation that's a renegade and violation of our city's charter so much that it's painful and blatant that they kept it from people, and just let it be, okay, no problem, let's move on. And there was a lot of noise about don't let that happen. And so Councilman Thompson came up with his suggestion. It was worse than that at the beginning, and it got negotiated down to this final result.
Okay. So moving on from that, Trump and back to national politics. Trump and Biden came out big winners yesterday in Super Tuesday. So big that about an hour ago, Nikki Haley came out and basically says she will, or the reports are coming out, she will suspend her presidential aspirations.
I'm going
today.
to say both of them lost.
Now what? Both of who?
Both of Biden and
Haley.
Trump lost.
How?
All right, Biden.
How do you figure
if you
it?
look at the numbers,
Yeah.
Biden didn't get. First off, people are running against Biden. That cuts into his credibility. Then he had large numbers of people where it was possible to be non-committed, to vote for non-committed,
Right. That was the
as
protest
opposed
number.
to the president of the United States, the incumbent for the party. People were voting against the incumbent president to an extent that he has to pay attention. Trump, on the other hand, in many key states, and I'll refer to Ken Block, our local statewide guy that analyzes this stuff quickly, did a post on Facebook, and I noticed he's talking about the numbers that Nikki Haley got in those states that are swing states. And Trump had his poorest performance, and she had her best performance in many of the swing states, which means there are many people in those swing states that may have supported Trump in the past, but they're looking for something other than Trump. And to a great extent, many people who vote for Nikki Haley won't vote for Trump. And so Trump support is much weaker among unaffiliated voters and moderate Republicans than Biden support is among broad-based Democrats. But Biden's support among independents is weak. Trump's is weak. They both shouldn't be in the race.
Well, what do voters do if, for some reason, Trump picks Nikki Haley to be his running mate? And then what do the Haley voters do?
It will put people in a pickle trying to make a decision about whether to go vote. But I think this could, as much as the last election in 2020 was one of the largest or the largest turnout ever.
Yeah. Might be
If
the
those
opposite.
two are the candidates, regardless of Nikki Haley, it could be the opposite.
All right.
Where people just say, no, forget it.
So is
or the third party candidate will actually exceed 25%, which would be unprecedented.
Yes.
Now,
Tim?
it seems to me that the vice presidential choice of Donald Trump will make a big difference.
And Biden. If he
Well,
sticks with
if he sticks with her,
sticking
right?
Harris,
Right,
she drags him down.
right, and I think he is.
And he
I don't-
drags
he's not
himself
given
down.
right. He's not given any indication that
If he
he's
picks Haley, it may give him enough credibility. But again, a lot of never Trumpers, a lot of moderates, they may vote for him if she's on board, thinking he won't fin- either one of them is a lot
They're
of
gonna
people
be
thinking they
finished.
won't finish the term.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
of course, the problem Trump's going to have is to me, there's a high likelihood his throwing his pressure around on local races and congressional races will actually turn the Congress over to the Democrats, and
You
the
said
Senate
this.
will stay Democrat as a majority, and so he'll be impeached,
And convicted.
possibly convicted.
And then what happens?
Then the vice president becomes president, and
So-
Nikki Haley gets what she wants.
Just a point of order. If
Point of
as a
order.
president, if
I don't
a
have my
president were to
gavel
get
with
me.
yeah,
Wow,
there you go.
huh?
So if a president gets impeached and convicted in the Senate,
He's out of a job.
immediately from the moment the vote is taken.
So
So it's not like Trump could say, "Well, I'm president and I'm
it's
now in charge of the military."
It's a 2/3
still.
vote.
Okay, so
So
but I'm just my fear is that if this is just
It
a
might
wild
stop.
speculation,
All
but
right.
you know, if he were to win and he were to be impeached and convicted, that he would then say, "You can't get, you're gonna have to drag me out of this office like cold dead,
Kicking and
right? Kicking and screaming."
Okay.
But they can because the new president could make
Correct.
that happen because that person becomes
at
president
that moment,
immediately.
that person's the president and is the commander in chief. And if he ever tried to invoke or urge the military to protect him in his position,
Yeah.
it's the new president's job to order him removed.
Right.
And it's if he chooses to take that to court, it would be the Supreme Court's job to say.
Yeah, and
Nope.
they would too. I would think they would have to say that.
Melissa-
That's where
Melissa's
the
got a point.
integrity of the system
Yeah.
comes into play.
I don't know why we're worried about any of those steps. That's all legalities. I'm more
it's
worried
Trump.
about I'm more worried about the people.
Oh,
I'm not
right.
worried about the terms and the votes and
Well, I
getting kicked
think
out of office. I'm worried about the reaction from the people.
Well, that's
and
the-
the
and that's the
uproar in
point.
this country.
I'm still saying, and it's ironic that the Democratic convention is in Chicago this year, with all of these free Palestine from the river to the sea, all
Yeah.
of that junk that's going on. I'm fully expecting that when they get to Chicago in August, because it's going to be hot, we'll have riots.
It's going to
Yep.
be chaos.
100%.
What about the Republican convention?
And if Trump doesn't win, then you'll have other kinds of riots.
Yeah.
And if Trump wins and they impeach him, then
You're
you'll
gonna
have other kinds of riots because
Wow.
we've become a confrontational society that's ready to fight
Right.
Right.
And I
amongst
wonder
ourselves.
how
I'm
many
curious to see to the death or not.
I wonder how many people, myself included, are not making a decision this fall based on who I think is a good presidential candidate, but more about the safety of our country. And I think that is a possibility for a lot of people who aren't even I dismissing almost all of the points because look at the selection pool that we have in front of us to begin with. It's more about the day after the election and what does our country
If
look
it's
like.
if it's a close race, I would think that there would
Women
be
with
more
pink
chance
hats
for
will be kneeling
discord.
on the ground, screaming at the air.
Right. But I mean, if it's close, then either way, then I think there's more chance for discord. But if it's a blowout in one way or the other, or if it's 10 points or more, then I think you got an argument that listen, you didn't win. One of you two didn't win. That's
Yeah.
clear. So get out.
Well, we went through that once already a few years ago.
Yeah, but I
And
think
look at
it
how
was
that
it
went.
was closer.
And
I can only suggest that everybody go home and study how earthquakes happen over time.
Pressure.
Pressure, and it builds,
Yep.
and it builds, and it builds, and you get these little tremors, little jerky motions where you get the protests and the noise and the screamers and this one, and Trump saying he never lost and blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Fake
and all that noise
news.
is pressure, and it's adding more and more and more pressure.
It's
And
scary.
as we get closer and closer to the election and the outcome, something's going to snap.
Yeah.
Right.
And when it does,
And I wish I could say there's an entertainment
People-
factor to that, right?
people
I wish
will
you
get
could
hurt.
say like, grab the popcorn, let's sit back and
No.
watch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
this
but
is
it's
this
scary.
is real.
I don't.
This is
I'll be surprised. This would not be a popcorn event.
no. That's what I'm saying, and that's what's scary. And it's not that far away.
And it's
No,
going
it's
to pit
not.
neighbors against neighbors, family. It's just
That's
Yeah.
family against family.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program, but more coming your way. We have a
Thank
note
goodness.
to get to as well. Forecast being brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Rain today, mainly in the afternoon, patchy fog, high of 61 with a calm wind. Tonight, rain could be heavy at times, 2 to 3 inches of rain possible overnight with patchy fog, overnight low of 43. Thursday's weather, rain is likely, with a cloudy sky and a high of 46, northeast winds increasing to 30 miles per hour. A quarter to a half an inch of rain is possible Thursday. Friday, mostly sunny skies and 47 degrees with a wind from the north. Saturday, mostly cloudy, 46. Sunday, rain is likely. Southeast winds, high of 51. Wind gusts over 30 miles per hour Sunday. Monday, partly sunny, high of 46 with a 30% chance of a shower, but very windy from the northwest over 40 miles per hour. And Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high of 50.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with the clouds, we have 49 degrees. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
I got a nice note from Marta at Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse on Social Street in Woonsocket, and she says, "Dear Dave, please tell the people in the audience that Lenten specials are available at Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. The meat-free offerings are the same that you get each year and can't get anywhere else. Also, looking ahead to Easter, traditional Easter soup is white borscht with kielbasa. Hard-boiled egg and horseradish are available in different styles, and baked or smoked ham on the side. You can pre-order by calling ahead of time. Fulfill your table with wooden hand-painted eggs, breaded lamb and butter lamb. Happy Easter from Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse, voted Best Deli and Best Catering in the Blackstone Valley on the Best of the Blackstone Valley contest. Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse, Social Street, Woonsocket. The world-class distributor of all things electrical is Electrical Wholesalers. They are a full-service electrical distributor with branches throughout Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. Locally, they're at 113 Clinton Street next to KFC here in Woonsocket, with other locations in Cranston and Franklin, Massachusetts. Electrical Wholesalers provides the highest quality service to electrical contractors as well as residential, commercial, and industrial customers. Electrical Wholesalers is open Monday through Friday, 7 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Visit ew-ne.com. Electrical Wholesalers. What would you do with $300 in cash? To find out, play the Valley Breeze ON Radio Squares contest all this week, exclusively in the Valley Breeze newspapers and right here on ON AM and FM radio.
It's Coffee and on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward and Melissa Smith and Tim Draper. And speaking of Radio Squares, Tim, let's call out another business in the Radio Squares game card number 1. See if this makes a line for you.
Let's
It is
see
that
who
business
let's see who
right
that
there.
organization is. Wow, look at that. It's the Navigant Credit Union.
Ah, how about
in
that?
In the top center line,
Coincidental.
right in the middle.
How about that?
Navigant Credit Union.
All right, Tim. And since you've called out Navigant Credit Union, hey, if that makes 5 in a row for you, give us a call at 762-1240 so we can register you this week. And Tim, time for a first message from Navigant.
Thank you, Joe. We have we're a little over a week until our big senior safeguard or financial exploitation seminar that we've got going on at the Elks Lodge on Social Street. There's still room. The space is limited, but we still have a few seats left, and we're going to try to be done taking registrations on Friday. But the reality is if you at the last minute want to come, certainly give us a call. You want to call Amanda at 233-3108. That's Amanda LaRose. Or you can email us at ce@navigantcu.org. That's CE, like as in community engagement. And we're going to talk a lot about scams that are out there, financial fraud, exploitation from relatives sometimes in those cases. We'll look, romance scams and utility scams, all kinds of things that we need you to be aware of so that you can not fall victim to any of those things. So it's going to be a good seminar. We have a lot of great speakers, and we hope that you will join us at 10 a.m. a week from Thursday at the Elks Lodge.
I've heard of one, you may have seen it, it's a video I've seen online, using AI. And the person calls the woman picks up the phone. Hi, it's Mom. And it sounds like Mom. And I've been not pulled over, a flat tire or whatever. And the tow truck person's here, but I don't have any money.
Yeah.
Can you wire me some money so I can pay the tow truck driver?
Right.
And it's all AI, and your mom is not really in trouble.
Right. Well, that's the point, and it's trying to get not just older folks. I have to say it's everybody, because anybody
Yes,
can fall
yes,
victim to this stuff,
yeah.
right? Because AI makes it sound real.
That's right.
You have to take a moment, and if it's out of the ordinary, hang up, take a breath, then call that person direct.
That's what the video does.
Right.
That's the best answer. Is you
And
just
then
say,
you hear the fake mom on the phone. No,
Right.
no, don't hang up.
Yeah, don't hang up. Well, I'm going to, and then
And you
I'll
call your mom and-
I'll call you back.
And
I'll
she's
call you
perfectly
right
fine.
back.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm in a bad zone.
but I
Mom's
just want to
fine.
mention two. I've gotten 2 emails now in the last 2 days. One of them starts. The title of it is SSA.gov.
Oh yeah.
Now
Social
that's
Security.
This one's clean. It looks Social Security. SSA.gov sounds like Social
Yes.
Security,
Yeah.
and of course it's not.
Yep.
It's saying your latest monthly e-statement is available. Blah blah blah, and it puts a link in there. And then I hovered over the link, and of course it's some random website crap that's junk. And I'm going to delete it when I get home. But I just wanted to remember to mention it
Right.
today. The other one I just got this morning was my Cox data alert on my phone plan. Except I don't have Cox in my phone.
All right. So just something to be aware of. All right, a note that was called in, and on a completely different note, here we go. These NRA blind workers / supporters, despite the continuous of murders with assault weapons, say it's an infringement of the Second Amendment to carry certain types of weapons. They are not the solution, they are part of the problem. How can they not see murder? They should be accountable and brought to justice.
I have only one question for this person, and it's not to be argumentative, but they may take it this way, and I'm sorry if they do.
All right?
How many mass murderers or whatever you want to call them had an NRA membership card?
Probably none.
Oh,
I'm going to say
what
zero
do you know?
on that one.
What do you know? See, I guess my point is the huge
You were set up,
majority,
Joe. I'm just letting you know.
Thank you, thank you,
You
thank
made
you.
it very well.
the huge majority of people
like taking the bait.
in the NRA
Yeah.
are law-abiding citizens who are not taking their guns out and walking around the streets with them. Look, especially their high-capacity assault rifles, which is nothing more than a pretty-looking metal-framed gun instead of a wood stock gun. Same gun, same bullets, but pull the trigger the same amount of times. It's not the best argument to blame the NRA.
Okay.
Because those are the law-abiding citizens. The problem is, when you catch criminals using guns in violent crimes, why, in God's name, isn't the most extreme measure taken to make sure that there's nothing about them that will ever fire a gun again? Even up to the most ridiculous things that people would generally find offensive, but would be effective. I just don't get this. The people who use guns need to be dealt with harshly, and our
bad
country
guys.
doesn't do that. They attribute it, and because harshly in the sense of preventing them from doing it again. Probably the majority of these people have mental health issues.
Okay. Any other comments on, on the guns?
I would agree.
Okay. All set there, Melissa?
Yep.
All right. So this is what's going on down in Providence. They say, well, it's the law and we have to do this. But boy, the morale must be awful in the Providence school system.
Oof.
Over 400 teachers in the Providence have received displacement letters, meaning they may not have a job in the fall.
Aren't they isn't it the school
400?
department complaining about the fact they don't have enough teachers?
There's like 200
Well,
positions
yes.
open. But I think this is annual, right?
Let me use my experience to explain how this is somewhat of a self-inflicted wound by
Oh,
the
yeah.
teachers.
Yep.
It's negotiated
teachers?
in the contract that they have seniority rights to bid into other jobs. So the only way those people can ever bid into other jobs is everybody has to get a layoff notice, so then they have to bid back into a job when they go through their little event every year. And then when it's all said and done,
insane.
as they fill these positions, people move into new school buildings and move into new positions. If there's someone left over that doesn't have a job, they don't have a job. So you might get, out of 400, you might get 1 or 2 who don't come back to work. I know in Woonsocket it was routine.
Wow.
100 people would get a
Cumberland-
layoff
Cumberland's
notice.
the same
But
way.
this is
And
not a
Lincoln's
layoff.
the
But it's
same
not a
way.
layoff notice.
It's well, it's
They
it's
go
tech-
out June 1st. So what's the difference?
That's
a
the
layoff
same thing.
notice.
That's the same thing.
It's
No,
considered
no,
layoff.
but the
They're
displacement
required.
letters
They're
go
required
out now.
But here's the problem
Yeah,
too.
they have to
They're
do it.
required to notify them before March 1st.
Right.
So they notify everybody.
Right.
that you might
Because-
get laid off.
That you might.
Okay.
Because if they don't notify them by March 1st,
then you can't.
They can't do anything. They must be employed next year. Period. It's a state law. So the
right.
General Assembly created the problem. The contract with the unions make the problem worse. And then when it happens, because it's the only way to manage a system of that many people with that many issues, everybody says, "Oh, this is terrible. These school committee people are terrible. The school administration is terrible." No,
Right.
your rules are terrible.
Yeah, that we're abiding by. All right. It just sounds like a lot. And when you,
Seems
Well,
when you say
but that's the
400,
headline. That's the
That
headline.
is the
That's what they
headline.
want you to. That's what they
Right.
oh
want.
my God, 400
It's
teachers. What are we
clickbait.
going to do?
Yeah.
kind
Right.
of thing. All right. Wow. All
Speaking
right.
of schools, can I just add a little?
Oh, sure.
Have any of you watched Abbott Elementary? Have you ever
Yes.
heard
Yes.
that show?
Not one
It's a,
minute.
it's a
I
funny-
just
No, it is-
discovered
it's
it.
It's a
very
funny show.
I think you need to watch it.
You do need to watch it.
Maybe I will.
Where have I been? It's
My-
30 minutes
my,
of
daughter-
hysterical laughter.
Daughter
Yeah.
turned me on to
My,
this.
my son advised me to watch Shogun,
What's
which is
Shogun?
it's a series on Hulu.
Yeah. Way too
And I
violent.
said, and I said to him, "I saw Shogun. That's where I learned Kinishiwa and Jinsan."
Oh.
and I thought it must be. I wonder if it's the same miniseries that Richard
Chamberlain was in, right?
I don't think so.
No, it's the same story.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Come on, I didn't know
modernized.
that. Oh, okay.
Far more
It's
violent.
modernized. So,
Far more
so
violent.
in fact,
Oh my God.
the samurai sword does in fact cut somebody's head off. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically the same story because, and I knew that when the Shogun that's eventually going to be the Shogun, the family name comes up, and I forgot what it is now, Tanaka maybe or something. And when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, this is the same story.
But Abbott Elementary is so funny, especially the principal that doesn't want to be in education
my
and she's
gosh.
complete inefficient is
Yeah.
hysterical.
It's like an inner city school
It is.
system,
It
right?
is.
And I
It's
only
so
pivoted
funny.
off of your conversation about Providence Schools layoffs, but if you've ever seen the show The Office, it's like a very
It's like a
similar
yeah.
format,
It's
but in a
like that.
school system.
Yeah.
It brings to light some actual real stuff, not in a dramatic way. They make light of it, but it's just very comical.
It
yeah,
is-
just
it is-
light,
it is
funny.
very good. And
Good script consultants
they've
can do
got
that
the-
if they've got
It's
good
a
teaching
family watching
experience.
show for
It is.
once too.
Yeah.
It has an element of just
with they have the freshman teacher that wants to change the world and
No
and like that.
innuendos and
Well, one time they did it because they had a disruptive student
yeah.
and she was writing bad things on the whiteboard.
Yes.
That's pretty funny. Oh no, no, we ain't gonna have any of this.
So like the school
have to
not
check
having
it out.
money for
Oh,
any
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
supplies, doing their own fundraising,
Yeah.
spin on that.
Yeah,
Like
that's-
it's just been it's light. So just
is.
if you're listening and looking for something to lighten
It
the
is-
mood in
it
this
is-
world of politics, turn it on.
And is one of the teachers still dating the well they had
I
a,
just
they had-
started.
they had a nickname for him. It was like he put the sodas in the soda machine. It's like is so and so dating soda machine guy because they don't know his name. All right, let's see other things going on. So this may cause some controversy. You never know. When socket-based CVS is going to start selling abortion pills as soon as this month. The company has received certification from the FDA to disperse this drug. CVS will initially fill prescriptions in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. It will eventually expand availability to other states where it's legal to do so. I haven't heard of this actual drug, mifepristone. That's the drug that the FDA is
They
I'm
approved.
just
weren't already
fascinated.
doing it.
I'm fascinated by the FDA. I understand the FDA controls the legality of using drugs or selling them, but not dispensing them within individual states. When
Well,
did that
it just
come
says
into
they
play?
CVS received certification from the
So
FDA.
that's what I mean. I
That's
didn't.
all
I didn't know what
You-
certification.
You can sell it if you,
You would
feel
think
like it.
you would think their pharmacy controls are sufficient that they can sell any approved drug that's available on the market.
So I'm sorry, I'm
And yet
surprised
it
they weren't.
sounds like they had to get special permission for this one. I don't get it.
Or maybe it just became available. They just
Okay.
certified it recently. You can now start doing it because they haven't been able to sell this particular drug yet, and now they're going to start
maybe
selling it
it's
this
a,
month.
It's a certification of the drug, not necessarily of CVS or Walgreens.
Right. They just now they have decided, at least CVS has. I don't know about Walgreens, but CVS has decided yes, we will start selling it by prescription. So if your doctor gives it to you, and it doesn't say how you take. Is it like the birth control pill? You got to take it every day, or you just take it when you think you need to take it, or what? I don't know.
Hey, let me put that away in my I
Yeah.
don't care pocket.
Don't give a
Give a darn round of pocket.
darn. That's the word I'm looking for. Darn.
All right, we're gonna take another break here. So Tim, time for your second message, please, from Navigate Credit Union.
Thanks very much. You know, Joe, since we're talking a little bit about security, we want to make sure that everybody knows that at least at our credit union and pretty much every other financial institution out there is never going to call you up and solicit information from you. We're not going to call you up and say, hey, I need to get the last 4 digits of your social. I need to know what your account number is. No matter how many texts you get, no matter what emails you get, no matter what phone calls you get. We're not going to proactively go get that information. Now, if you call us and you get the contact center, which is a legitimate place, and they ask you for certain identifying information, that's one thing. But if you're getting a phone call from something that looks like it's coming from Navigant Credit Union, and this is the latest scam for us right now, there are some phone calls being spoofed, some numbers being spoofed out there that make it look like Navigant Credit Union is calling you. Please do not engage on the phone. Please hang up and dial 233-4700 and tell the person on the other end, hey, listen, I've got this call. Are you looking for me, or is there something I need to do? Even when you're at the market and you've got a block on your credit card or your debit card, and it comes back and says, sorry, this card is inactive, you're probably going to get a call within a few seconds from our fraud prevention service where they will contact you and ask you if you're trying to make a transaction. If that's the case and you're there making a transaction, then that is likely a legitimate call. So you can engage with those folks. But we want you to understand that we're not actively going out there and asking for information. So don't give it to us unless you call us and choose to give it to us. And you'll learn all about that at the seminar. So again, if you're looking to join us at that seminar, it's 233-3108. That is Amanda LaRose. She fills in for me here from time to time. Or you can email us at ce@navigantcu.org. We got till Friday for registrations. I'll even buy you lunch at the end of the seminar if you're there. So by all means, give us a call. You don't have to be a member. I guess I've been forgetting to say that. You don't have to be a member of Navigant Credit Union to come to the seminar. It's open to anybody. But we do have a limit of people that can be there. So by all means, we hope you come.
All right, very good there, Tim. More of the Coffee and program is coming your way. Stay tuned.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Kitchen trends for 2024 want to make your cooking space feel more special. From textured tiles to rounded stone islands to porcelain countertops, Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center can show you these and more. Visit CumberlandKitchen.com or stop in and see Kevin and his team at their showroom in the McDonald's Plaza on Mendon Road, Cumberland, right off Route 295. Turning a house into a home, your home, Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center. It is Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. Joe Callahan along with Tim Draper, Melissa Smith, and John Ward. And just a couple of bizarre stories out of Massachusetts that one of them's got a Rhode Island tie. That there was a murder-suicide in Haverhill, and both victims have Rhode Island ties. One's originally from East Providence. I think the other's from North Providence. The East Providence person moved to Haverhill, but it's a murder-suicide up there. I'm like, wow, that is...
Probably some domestic.
It was. I believe they were dating at some point. And then in Attleboro...
NRA members?
No. No. Well, not that they've said. So,
He's
a man
sharp
in
today, huh?
He is sharp.
He's like
He's on the ball.
right on it.
a man in Attleboro, 74-year-old man, lived in a nursing facility right on 123, and was gonna. They think he was walking over to the Stop and Shop on 123 there, and got hit by a car and died. And then turns out he murdered his wife 35 years ago.
Really?
In Chelmsford, Massachusetts. Yeah. He murdered his wife in Chelmsford, I think put her in a trunk, and then flew to California. And when he got to California, he confessed.
Did he come back and serve time here?
They didn't. It's unclear whether or not he served time for it. So they're coming up. They're saying we don't think, or the officials say we don't think this is related. We don't think someone gunned for him because he killed grandma 35 years ago.
Right.
It's bizarre. It's just a bizarre story.
Coincidence or karma?
More karma than
100%.
coincidence. It's just go wow.
You'll get hit by a bus.
You don't. That's
Has he
odd,
ever
huh?
been in the vicinity of Jeffrey Epstein in a federal prison?
I don't believe so. All right. So
Oh, that's right. He killed himself.
Yeah.
when he stabbed himself 3 times. So this is just a bizarre story. This is one of those. Do you believe this guy? Do you not believe this guy?
No, that's Vince Foster. He shot
Oh,
himself.
that shot himself
Shot
3
himself
times.
in the head
Believe
twice.
Right.
Yeah.
A man in Los
Feeling it.
Angeles. He's suing a luxury resort in Vegas, the Venetian Palazzo Tower. I've never been
That's
there.
very
Venetian's
nice.
beautiful.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a very nice spot.
Because he claims somehow a scorpion got into his room, climbed up the sheets, and stung him in a not so good area. I won't leave that to your imagination. While he was sleeping. Now, the alleged incident happened on December 26th. He says he was stung 3 or 4 times. So that's where it gets odd, because I've seen my nature programs and I've seen scorpions sting, and they usually only sting once.
Yeah.
They get in because they got to get the venom in.
Yeah.
They don't pull out and back in and like that. So I'm like,
I love how you're skipping past the fact that there's a scorpion in a hotel in
well, that's
Vegas.
a problem
like,
too. Now, that's right.
Well,
now, how did
it's
it
a
get
desert,
in?
so
It is.
It can get
maybe-
in.
Obviously, somebody gave it to him as a Christmas present.
Or he went and bought one himself.
Right.
Anyway, he says he was left in excruciating pain.
Did he go to the hospital?
Well, I think so, because he says he's still dealing with medical issues months later. And he also says that the hotel made him pay for the room, despite what happened. So
Okay.
he's suing the hotel.
Okay.
Is what
So-
it's coming down to.
Regardless of that stuff, if he went to the hospital, there has to be a
Yes.
record of all of this stuff.
Sure, there is
evidence that he's not
Evidence
lying.
that he's not lying, right?
Well, you
so
would
then
think so.
they would be able to tell us whether he was stung 3 or 4 times.
I don't
So-
have that information here.
Let's
there
let's
is
put it
some-
into like.
But I think it hasn't gone to court yet, so I think he might just be looking for a settlement.
Maybe.
So you have the context of bed bugs in hotels or cockroaches, right? So I'm going to put this in the same bucket. All gross.
All gross.
All disturbing. And now I have a new visual when I go into
go
a
to Vegas.
hotel room,
Damn
which I didn't think of, but I should have thought of because I have friends that live out in Arizona. So anyways, with that said, I think if you have a bed bug issue, for example, we went to DC one time and my girls both had bites all over their legs, whatever. The hotel went through hoops trying to accommodate us. Like they moved our room, whatever they do, bombed all of our bags and everything like that. They refunded us, whatever. They went through hoops. So I would think that this, maybe not suing, but at least saying, I want you to cover my fees for
Come my
this
room.
infestation that has occurred where I stayed.
Well, maybe the Venetian knows something that we don't.
That's what I'm wondering.
saying
There's a problem
There's
in the
no
building.
way a scorpion got up to wherever his room is.
Right.
You must have. They're thinking
Had
you
to get
must
on the
have-
elevator,
you
take
must-
its little
that's
claw,
right.
hit the button.
Well, I
you
mean, think
must
how
have
many
brought it
floors.
in.
Those hotels in Vegas are
Yeah,
Massive.
like
they're
30
huge.
floors high plus. I mean,
So-
yeah, that would. So there's got to be more.
There is
I
more to
hate
the
it when you
story.
give us these
Well, that's all I
stories
got.
where they're
I
not.
got 5 sentences and that's it. sorry.
Maybe
about
we should
that.
have picked a different story.
But I like that one. I like that one.
Need more
Maybe. But
supporting evidence.
Well, here's another one for me, Tim, and John, because I don't think you worked fast food, did you, Melissa?
Did I growing up? I can't remember.
No.
In college I did.
Oh, all
In
right.
college I did. Yeah.
Well, and this is getting out of control because there's another story about it. North Carolina Dunkin' Donuts employee is being accused of shooting at a customer.
Holy,
It just
I
gets-
can
it
see
just
the
gets
customers
worse.
wanting to shoot
It
the
just gets
employees.
worse
but
and
the other
worse.
way around?
Union County, North Carolina Sheriff investigators say they arrested 18-year-old Ricky Miller, an employee at the Dunkin' Donuts. Investigators say the victim had been upset about the quality of service and demanded a refund. Probably didn't get it. So
Oh, he got something.
So the employee hops in his car and follows the guy in his car as they drive away. And when they get close enough, he shoots alongside the victim and fires several rounds into his pickup truck. It doesn't say if he's with the NRA.
Was he?
I'm just wondering, you keep referring to him as the employee. I'm assuming he's the former employee.
It should be former employee by now. Yeah, you're right.
There's so
Now-
Oh,
many.
no, he's still employed.
The
He
customer.
didn't shoot him on duty. He was off duty. He
The
went out on
customer
road.
was not injured in the shooting, but the pickup truck was heavily damaged with bullet holes. Miller is facing several felony charges. That's the former employee. So
Some people pay a lot of money to make their
Wonder
trucks
if his
look
gun
like
was
bullet.
legally owned.
And this goes back to my point about what's going to happen this fall if somebody doesn't get their way.
Yeah.
For the we just have crazy people living in this world. That's nuts that you can't
Yep.
control your rage over a customer that's upset with you.
yeah,
You just got an award for customer service, right? Can you imagine if you had an employee behind your desk
that ran after a customer.
that got yelled at by a customer? Because that happens all the time. It happens in my line of work all the time. You have to
Yeah.
maintain your composure, de-escalate the situation.
Yep.
But in this example, it's buying into the situation,
Right.
raging over the
Right.
situation, following them home, shooting them. Like it's just
Well, it's somebody who's just unstable from the
Unreal.
beginning. Just anger issues and probably
Why
mental
do I
health
get the
issues.
feeling these two people must have known each other?
they must
before?
have known each other. I think there's more
I
to the
mean, just a
story.
random customer coming in and asking for demanding a refund. You're gonna follow them?
Here we
Well,
go.
he didn't-
More to the
he was,
story.
He was complaining about the quality of service. Didn't get the coffee
So you-
fast enough, or the donut was
Two
stale.
sugars instead
Probably
of one.
yelled at the kid who had nothing to do with making the coffee, just other than punching the number in, moving
Yeah.
it to the one place to the other, and that kid gets yelled at because
Yeah.
the guy's coffee's too hot or he doesn't like it.
Here's what's
or
going to
whatever.
happen. Dunkin' Donuts is going to close, and then we're all going to have to go to Cumberland Farms with John because I can't stop looking at this line on the side of his
What does it
cup,
say?
which says, "It's perfect because you made it." In other words,
You're on your
you
own.
can't get mad at yourself, right? So Dunkin' Donuts is going to go to a self-serve situation now.
Cumberland
I've
Farms.
never read that line.
I haven't stopped. I can't stop looking at it. I'm like, that's pretty smart of them to put that little
Well,
blame yourself.
I've never had anybody say that about me, but that's okay.
I'm actually surprised that it's a styrofoam cup, to be honest, as well. After I just picked it up.
it's not paper. Wow.
Given the fact that grocery stores now in Rhode Island have moved completely to paper, but also because Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, etc., are all paper, that Cumberland Farms is still with the styrofoam.
You know the tragic side effect of getting rid of all the plastic is
What's that?
I no longer have basically free trash can liners.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All my Target bags became trash can liners,
Yeah.
and now I know.
I'm sorry because I had to watch a show that pointed out how recycling is a waste of time and does nothing.
Great. Glad I've been doing it for the last 20 years.
It's true. I
Separating
hate.
my
So I feel
cardboard.
like I'm going to be sharing a similar comment, I guess. But the town of North Smithfield school system is trying to work with a student wanting to do good, making things more green. Blah blah blah. They wanted to get all these different bins in the cafeteria and with signs, etc. And I said, well, who's your waste removal contract? And they said Waste Express, which is same as us. And so, anyways, I'm like, we have all those bins. I watch them take the trash. They put it into
All in
one
one.
big system. There's no, you go through
No
these efforts
separating.
because you want to,
Oh, yeah, I'm doing good.
yeah.
I'm recycling.
And it's really, yeah.
But my back to the Dunkin' Donuts because my daughter works at one, and they had to get all the employees together, and they were told things you hear in fast food. You're putting too many sprinkles on the donuts. That was the big concern.
Scandalous.
Wow.
Yes, less sprinkles.
Right.
You know how much money this costs?
I keep waiting to see the sign go up that says Dunkin' Donuts, 10 varieties.
10.
52 is gone. It's
Yeah.
long
Oh
gone.
my
Right.
gosh.
I just can't stand it when I get sprinkles instead of just chocolate frosted. I just want chocolate frosted. I don't
Yeah,
want
I
the
don't want
sprinkles.
sprinkles.
I'm sorry, we don't
Oh,
make them
it's
that
all
way.
about the
Oh,
but here's
no.
what I don't understand with that comment about less sprinkles, more money. You get a donut from Rhode Island Guys Donuts. I don't know if you ever had their donuts
have,
before. They
yes.
sell them at IGA and Dave's. And
Yep.
they're made perfectly. It's like saturated in sprinkles. That's exactly how a donut should be
Right.
made.
That guy worked at Alley's. I think
Yeah,
he was
he
an
did.
Alley's
Alley's
employee, and
Donuts
he
guy,
left.
yeah.
I think around the
And he
time
went
Alley's went off
rogue
the deep end.
away from
And then said, "I'm going to."
Well, I'm a believer. I've switched.
I'm not going to Alley's.
No, I mean, but have you had all of that? Even their maple donut is
The guys, the five
better,
guys,
yeah.
they have
So
a Dave's
good.
with the donut cake though.
Well, they're all
You got to go to Little
right.
General.
They're all baked,
They sell their individual donuts there.
Right.
and
but they
you
don't
try
they
it
don't
all.
fry any of their
Right.
donuts. I don't think they bake all of their donuts.
Well,
don't
you
know.
guys must remember at McDonald's because I remember at Burger King. Boy, if you put like 5 pickles on when you're only supposed to
Two.
put 4. Well, 2. Well, I had the Whopper, so the Whopper we put 4
I was
pickles on.
I was McDonald's.
That's right.
It
But
was
burgers are
Single
2.
on a burger,
Okay.
double on a quarter pounder.
And if you put more
Big
on,
Mac was 3, wasn't it?
Big Mac, no.
can't
But
believe you know the number of pickles on the sandwich.
Because they drilled it into you. Well, it was 2. Boy, if you put 3, the manager came over yelling at you.
And the ketchup and mustard was just one squeeze on the
Oh, we-
dispenser.
We didn't have a
was
dispenser.
cool.
We had
We had-
bottles.
We had dispensers. You squeeze it
Yep.
once each time.
Four
Ketchup,
little
mustard,
spoons. Yep.
drops it on.
We got a note called in 766-1240. Melissa is correct. That's the
About what?
first
About
sentence.
everything. I mean,
Melissa is correct.
you call my
that-
husband?
That if Trump doesn't win, his many supporters who are stockpiling guns will cause trouble.
the person who called in, are you one of those people? Please consider
But
not.
don't they? Isn't that going to be the same if Biden loses?
Maybe.
Won't his
Yeah.
supporters go crazy because Trump's in, like John said, on the ground,
know.
screaming on their knees that the
just
world
want-
is coming to an end?
People forget that in 2016, the Democrats were declaring the election was rigged. 2020, Trump declared the election.
Oh, there was
rigged.
So it's always rigged.
anarchy in the
2024.
streets. I think, if I remember, protests and
I'd love to see a third party candidate win so that they could both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party
Get
would
together?
declare that the election was rigged.
But we've
right.
just gotten so acclimated to the, fake news and,
Yeah.
I couldn't have won the right way, the truthful, honest way. There had to have been some contributor. It's that whole narrative is exhausting and you don't know what to believe anymore.
I think
So-
the thing that's troubling about Trump's claim is, they keep talking about it because Biden had so many more votes and all of that. But an analysis of the swing states that counted, that would have switched the result, I think in total, the differential was less than 60,000 votes or 40,000 votes or something, where in like Michigan, it was 12,000. In Arizona, it was maybe 15,000
Yeah.
that Biden won by. So any one of, or any 2 or 3 of those states could have switched the whole thing. So I don't think it was ever a complaint about in general nationwide. It was, well, it's COVID. They let everybody vote early or they let everybody vote by mail. Some states, like Rhode Island, sends out mail ballot applications. Some states were sending out ballots.
yeah.
How do you control stuff?
Well, I
like
think that's
that?
why you saw Massachusetts maybe
Finally
quickly
go away
restore
from
their
the book.
process. They don't want to
Yeah.
be blamed for screwing up the election. Everyone's on guard now.
All right, I'll be producer. It's time to go.
Yeah, it is time to go. So thank you very much for listening in. Tim Draper, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody.
All right, and Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
All right, and John Ward.
Stay
thank
dry
you.
and enjoy the God-given day.
All right,
Like it looks
this
bright out.
it is. The sun has risen. That's nice. All right, stay tuned. Gary Smith and the crew coming your way at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. A mistrial